Hey everybody, Terry Barrett here again, simpleswingthoughts.com. Welcome to week number 7 in the Swing in the Spring 2015. Now, in this video, it's going to be part 2 of the downswing, and we're really going to learn exactly how the downswing works regarding our right forearm. More specifically, the two bones in our right forearm. Now guys, this is exactly where you're going to learn how to play golf. Okay, this is where the fades and the draws come in at will or on demand, however you want to call it, on your golf swing, okay? And it's going to be focusing on the two bones in your right forearm. And we're going to go real in depth on this video on how the radius and the ulna, which is the two little small bones in your forearm that when you rotate your wrist, they either open or they stack. And we're going to find out exactly what that means, okay? So let's get started. Now in this video, I'm going to run this probably for about, I don't know, maybe 13, 14, 15 seconds. And I'm going to show you exactly how we've been taught versus how we need to grip the club. Now, for those of you who have been with me for a while, you understand how I grip underneath the club. Now here's why I grip underneath the club. And here's why you get more consistency and more repeatable swings when that happens. So let's just take a listen. Let's focus on the right forearm and see what we have here with the grip, with the right hand, okay?
If you were to just put your hand on top of your thumb, if you take your right hand and just put it on top of your left hand, your V would still point at your right shoulder, okay? But you're not going to get the leverage. This is not a leverage grip, okay? And that is, again, if you were just to do this, okay, that's not a leverage grip, even though your V's are pointing to your right shoulder. Here's the leverage grip. What happens is, a lot of the pros, Ben Hogan, Tiger Woods, all the top pros, what they do is they grab underneath first, okay? And then what happens is they kind of turn their wrist just a little bit.
Okay, now does that look familiar? Remember the video on the grip where I showed you bonus coverage of Tiger sort of re-gripping his club, but he really wasn't re-gripping. He was basically just setting his right forearm, and I think I mentioned that in that video. If you don't learn anything else in this golf lesson, if you just took this video right now and said, Terry, you did a great job, thanks very much, see you later, you could take this grip and you could become a good golfer, okay, a good ball striker, okay? Because this is how important it is. So I'm going to let this video run just a few more seconds and really understand this.
Real subtly, okay? Real subtly. So the key is they come underneath to get this angle first. And then what happens is then they turn their wrist, which is where their knees are to the right shoulder. You cannot just come and layer it on top, because then you won't have the leveraged release grip.
So I'm sorry about the wind, but I just wanted to make sure that you heard that kind of in real time. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about, we're going to look at some still images now of all the pros and catching them in the act of the positioning of the right forearm. Okay guys, now remember, we're talking about the two bones in our right forearm, okay? Now of course they're in both forearms, but we're talking about where we get our power in our golf swing. So I'm going to leave this as a background because I really want this to sink in when you see all the still pictures of the pros that we're going to look at. And the first pro we're going to look at is Ben Hogan. Okay, now Mr. Hogan here, notice on his downswing as he's coming into impact, notice the right forearm. Okay, you see how that forearm is stacked. Okay, now, how you understand how a forearm is stacked or not, if you were to put your hand in front of you and have your palm straight to the sky, that would be a stacked forearm because those two bones would be stacked on each other. Now, to open those two bones, what you want to do is turn the palm of your right hand to the left and have it to where you've got like a karate chop. Now that's open. Okay, now a lot of us have been taught to come into the impact of the ball with the two bones right here open, where we're karate chopping the ground. We have to come into the ball, again, we have to come into the ball with our two bones in our forearm stacked, like our palms are pointing to the sky. And this is exactly how we hit the golf ball and how we get solid contact. Okay, now I'm going to look at some other pictures here, and this is me coming into impact. Notice as I'm coming into the ball, the forearm is stacked. As I'm pulling down, I'm pulling this club down like a hammer, okay? And what happens is my head position sets all my weight. And as I pull down with the hammer, I have no fear of coming through with an open club face, okay? There's no fear in slicing the ball, guys, or hooking the ball because your grip is set at setup, okay? Now, as we keep going through here, I'm going to show another picture of myself again as we pull down on the club handle. Again, there's a stacked position here on the forearm. I'm pulling this down like a hammer. Again, no fear whatsoever of have the club face being open or closed on that. Now let's go back to Mr. Hogan again. Okay. Now remember, as he's coming through the ball, you see how he's sort of swaying forward. Well, you can do that as long as your head's behind the ball and you pull your arms down. Okay. The swaying forward is what you want because you want the weight shift. You don't want to turn your shoulders or rotate your shoulders. You want your shoulders and your arms just to drop straight down. And again, if your grip and posture is right, your head position is right, you can sway forward as much as you want because you're going to keep your feet on the ground. You're going to get the power from your feet. The energy is going to come from the ground up. So this is perfect position to get your forearms in a position to where they need to be. Okay, now we're going to look at two more PGA pros, and we're going to bring in Ernie Els. Okay, now notice Ernie Els, notice his right forearm, notice the positioning of his hand. Again, he's pulling this club like a hammer, like a sledgehammer. Okay, now all the power is coming from the right forearm in his head position, and he's getting his energy from the ground up. Okay, we're going to look at one more. We're going to look at Tiger Woods. Now notice Tiger, again, the two bones in his right forearm as he comes into impact. He's coming into impact where his right forearm is stacked. He's got the club gripped like a hammer. He's pulling down. He's getting the energy from the ground as his head stays behind the ball. Okay? This is it. This is the secret. This is basically the two bones in the right forearm are the basis for the entire 2-6 member program. And I want to put that more out in the forefront now because that's going to be the whole program on 2-6 member. Because where we go from here, if you fully understand this. Now next week, I'm going to have to go into week 3 of the downswing. Now next week, what I'm going to discuss is the role of the right side, the right shoulder, the right side in unison with this leveraged rotation grip. Now, you've all heard me say leverage grip, leverage rotation. This is the leverage. This is like a hammer leverage that you're seeing here with the two bones in your right forearm. Okay, so review last week's video on the downswing. Review this week's. Next week, we're going to get more into the right side because once you understand how this works, now everything else is going to fall in place. You're going to be able to break down anybody's golf swing. I don't care who they are. Tour pro, teaching pro, it doesn't matter because all of them employ this very easy leveraged situation here with our forearm that gets us hitting solid shots every time. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up. Don't want to go too long. I'm at 9 minutes right now. So remember to go to the website if you haven't already pre-registered for the Pebble Beach year-long drawing to Pebble Beach for two round-trip airline tickets, 2 rounds of golf, 3 days, 2 nights, and also to pre-register for the 2-6 member. Again, you're going to be excited. Now, for those of you who are in warm weather, I know you're going to rush out to the range and try this because now you're finally going to understand how this works. Because there's a lot of you around the world who've been really hitting the ball really well. You just didn't understand why until right now. Okay? So for those of you who are in warm weather who are coming to me from YouTube, who are seeing me for the first time, go out and try this. I've got interviews from golfers who have tried it. They didn't know what they were doing. I was just telling them how to do it, but this is exactly how it's done. Okay? Terry Bradley, simpleswingthoughts.com, week 7, downswing part 2. I will talk to you next week, downswing part 3. Until then, tee them up, hit them straight, and I'll talk to you soon.